Let's talk about some of the most important functions related to tibbles. I'm going to specifically cover 5 of them. The tibble function creates a tibble similarly to how you would create a data.frame. The as_tibble function turns a data.frame into a tibble, which is very useful if you already have a data.frame that you want to convert to a tibble. Is_tibble is a function that returns a logical value indicating whether an object is a tibble. Add_row adds a row to a tibble, and add_column adds a column to a tibble. And just so you can see exactly what it looks like to use these functions in practice, we have a very simple example here, and I've already taken that code, copied it into RStudio, and so we're going to jump over there now. So now that we're in RStudio, I'm going to first use the tibble function to create a very simple tibble. It only contains 2 columns. The first column is numbers, which is literally the numbers 1, 2, 3, and the second column is letters, which is the letters A, B, and C. So I use the tibble function here. I assign it the name tbl1, and if I run this command, you can see the very simple tibble that we have here. I'm now going to use the data.frame function to represent the same information, but instead of storing that information as a tibble, I'm going to store it as a data.frame. And you can see that I have the same information here, though the printout is a little bit different because this object, tbl1, is a tibble, and this object, dtf1, is a data.frame. I now use the as_tibble function to convert dtf1 to a tibble, which I'm going to assign the name tbl2. And I can now use the identical function, which is not a tidyverse function, it's a base R function. But I can use that function to confirm that table 1 and table 2 are in fact identical. And because it returns true, we see that they are in fact identical objects. And I can also use the is_tibble function to confirm that tbl2 is in fact a tibble. I'm now going to use the add_row function to add another row to my tibble. When you do this, the first argument is going to be the tibble that you want to augment. And then for each variable in your tibble, you need to give values of the same length to add to each of the relevant variables. So in this case, I'm going to add the numbers 4 and 5 to the numbers variable in tbl1. And I'm going to add the letters D and E to the letters variable of tbl1. And so we do in fact get the output that we expected. Note that the values that you supply for each variable need to match the variable type that's already contained in the tibble. Similarly, I can use the add_column function to add a column to my existing tibble. I'm only going to add a single column here. I'm going to add a column called cat, which is a categorical variable column. It's going to be a factor, and I'm going to replicate the values G1 and G2 2 times and then 3 times each. And I use the factor function to make sure that is a factor. And this function in particular has this special argument dot after, which allows you to say where exactly you want to add the column to your tibble. And so I'm going to add it after the numbers variable, which is the first variable. So when we run this command, we expect the new column that we added to actually be between the numbers column and the letters column. And so when I run that column, I do in fact get what I expect. So I have this new factor variable in the second position of my tibble in between numbers and letters.